Hey everybody, Mr. the Fanboy here. This is my first official 2018 salute of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I initially wanted to review their super anniversary show that happened this past Tuesday, but I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like watching all the matches. I'm gonna finish watching the rest of the show later. But this is my short. This is also my short review of the my favorite match and the match I tuned into the show to watch, and that was Kazuhiko Okada challenging my boy Will Ospreay for the IWPG Heavyweight Championship. And boy, was this a phenomenal match. Another match of the year candidate, man. Okada, he outdoes himself every time he goes out there. In New Japan Pro Wrestling has just been awesome. Has just been awesome. I haven't been talking about them much, but they have just been awesome since Wrestle Kingdom of last year. New Japan has been awesome. So many other shows. One show I meant to review but never got a chance to review, that was Duntaku 2017, which had Okada taking on Bad Luck Fale. Bad Luck Fale, which was a different type of opponent for him. That show also had a match of the year candidate in between Kenny Omega and Toshihiro Ishii. These were like two totally different styles and different paces of match. Okada's usually used to wrestling people his size. Bad Luck Fale was a different opponent, and he still managed to have an awesome fight. So was Okada and Kenny Omega, which was Ishii and Omega, which was even stiffer. Then you had the G1 Climax. I don't remember much from the G1 Climax other than Tetsuya Naito, much to my surprise, winning the G1 Climax and earning a chance to face Okada at the Wrestle Kingdom 2012 show. And Wrestle Kingdom 2012, I talked about how awesome that show was. Every match on the card were awesome, with the matches that stand out to me were the Junior Heavyweight Championship match, the Junior Heavyweight Championship match between Ospreay, Takashi, Hiroshima, the John Morrison looking guy, Marty Scurll, and yeah, hold on, I'm on the internet right now. I can look it up. Yeah, Junior Heavyweight Championship match between Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, Hiromu Takashi, and of course Kushida. Kushida, whom I usually can't stand, even he performed well in this match. This was a phenomenal match. Then you had Tanahashi versus Jay White. I hear that Tanahashi wasn't 100% in this match and he was hurt, but he still did a good job. This was a great strong style, MMA style of a match. Really different from what we usually see from Tanahashi. And I love the newcomer on Jay White. Did I mention how awesome the fight was between Omega and Jericho? Then best match of the night was Okada taking on Naito. Also in the undercard, you had the Young Bucks taking on the Roppongi 3K, and the other tag team matches, Los Ingobernables de Japan taking on Killer Evil and Sonata taking on Killer Elite Squad, which is Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer, and of course This match went on for a long time, but the gauntlet match for the never open weight six-man tag team championship match between Chaos, Beretta, Ishii, and Yano taking on Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Tammy Tonga, and Tonga Tonga, um, Michael Elgin and War Machine, Suzuki Gun, and Taguchi Japan. Taguchi Japan. I gotta finish watching that match, and like I said, in the future, do another full length review of Wrestle Kingdom. Then you had beginning in Sapporo and Osaka. Wanted to review these shows, however, I couldn't find a website which had the results on them. And the Japan, they upload parts of the show to their channel. The parts they uploaded were just confusing to what was going on, so I couldn't review it. But I've since found a results page, so I will get around to reviewing each of these phenomenal shows. Then you have the phenomenal Honor Rising shows. The Honor Rising shows had a weak card, but the matches and stuff was awesome. And I love how they made the New Japan, the New Japan, that small arena, the New Japan arena that they usually take most of their television shows at. I like how they made that look like Ring of Honor, with the black ring and the Ring of Honor initials only in the New Japan country and setting. Then of course, next is what else happened next? So yeah, you have the phenomenal Honor Rising shows. I can't remember every match on the top of my head, but there are these two new wrestlers. Let me see their names. I can't remember their names at the moment, but I'm gonna look them up right now. What were their names? Oh yeah, now I remember their names. The first one was Toa. These two big, muscular, Japanese wrestlers. The first one was Toa Henry, who's actually a New Zealand-based wrestler, but he looked Asian, Asian. He looked Samoan. He looked Samoan, but he's New Zealand. Then another guy who was his partner at Honor Rising. I think they were taking. I keep forgetting who they were taking on, but his partner. Oh yeah, Kazuya Katsuya Kimura, who was a big, muscular, demon-looking wrestler with fangs. With fangs. These guys were on badass. I got to see them for the first time at Honor Rising. I actually saw them for the first time at the New Beginning shows, but I was formally introduced to these characters at Honor Rising. See, like I said, I finally went to New Japan's website for the results to these shows. See, you don't see many reviews of these awesome shows New Japan keeps putting on, because I couldn't find the results to these shows. I couldn't find the event results and match lineups from any websites. But yeah, you got these. So yeah. Then of course you had the Superman Anniversary Show, the new Cup, which I gotta watch, has already started. It's already started. Time flies when you're having fun. That's already started. So yeah, New Japan, they just keep putting on awesome show after awesome show. And I didn't say this, but I'm gonna talk about this now. One of the other reasons I love New Japan is, see, when people approach me about professional wrestling day, I usually either say no, I don't like wrestling anymore. I liked it when I was a kid, but I also say I like wrestling, but however I don't like today's wrestling. I like old school wrestling, and that's what New Japan, Impact Wrestling, and all the other promotions remind me of. New Japan reminds me of my all-time reminds me of the Monday Night Wars era, that was reminds me of WCW, the Monday Night Wars era with elements of the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression eras. See, that's for all the people. I'm gonna respond to haters for a moment. I'm gonna do this in another video. The New Japan haters. I'm gonna do that in another video, but another video focusing on the New Japan haters. But I'm gonna respond to them right now. For those of you who says New Japan doesn't have storylines, they do have storylines. They're built at their television show in Japan. Japan. They just focus more on the matches and the feuds, which is what it should be. Yeah, they're not as stories heavy as American wrestling. They're not as story. They have stories, but it's more focused on the action, the feud, and the interactions between the two between the wrestlers, in the ring, the wrestlers in the ring. Next is there has no entertainment value. There's lots of wrestlers with different gimmicks. One of the reasons I like New Japan is that everyone there is like Japanese anime and video game characters. They're not just lame vanilla midgets and sports entertainers, which is what WWE is. And then they said they don't have entertainment. I was watching highlights of one match where Okada was wrestling the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks did suck it to Okada, and Okada, who is super serious, gave it right back to him. He was like, suck it. And if you watch their shows, you see ECW Attitude Era matches. In one match, something that you would never see in New Japan, you saw a guy, but you would see all the time in American wrestling. That's a guy grab a woman and try to use her as a shield, and the other guy pull her out the way. Then something you would see in ECW, the guy who used one as a shield for her failure, I can't remember who the guy was. He beat the crap out of the Japanese woman. Something you would see in ECW but not see anywhere else. So saying they don't have entertainment value. They tell a story move. It's not just hitting moves, which is what you mostly see in WWE now. The story line's good, but most of the work rate in the matches isn't good. Most of it's just moves for the sake of moves stretched out for a long period. They call that wrestling with a bunch of near falls, and that is not wrestling, man. That is fake fighting. When people say, "Oh, fake fights, fake WWE is fake, wrestling is fake," that's fake fighting. That what you see on WWE. One of the main reasons I don't watch WWE, but I'll talk about that in the WWE rant. Continuing with New Japan. Yeah, why I like New Japan. So like I said, it reminds me of, it has elements of WCW. Like WCW, they have a heavyweight division, a tag team division, and a cruiserweight, and even like a middleweight division for the United States, Intercontinental, and television title. Those type of wrestlers. Those type of wrestlers. It has the big production values, the super anniversary shows. The super anniversary shows and the various big pay-per-views have a look similar to WCW Monday Nitro and various WCW pay-per-views between 95 and 2001. That's what their Titantron looks like. They also have the grand entrances, something WCW had. Of course, they don't have the epicness of Michael Buffer, but their announcer is good too, and they have those awesome entrances too. So they have the pomp and the pageantry. Everyone says they don't have entertainment. New Japan like has it Has it all. The only thing they're missing, but this is not popular. The only thing they're missing is a hardcore division, but they're not gonna add something like that. Even though they do have street fights, but yeah, I would love to see a hardcore division. The only thing from that WCW, the only thing the Monday Night Wars era had that this doesn't have, and elements from the Monday Night Wars era, where nowadays it's hard to find one company to entertain you. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, there you had three companies that were good. You had three companies that were good. That's what New Japan also reminds me of. They remind me of. They have elements of the ruthless aggression because they're the biggest, with Noah and the rest of them being smaller. So they have elements of the Monday Night Wars era, but more of the ruthless aggression era because they're like the biggest in town. They rep the place everyone wants to work, and they're slowly becoming a rival to WWE. They have to nail the audience here. They got everywhere else. They got to nail the audience, and they got to nail the audience here. I bet you that in New Japan, their wrestling show kicks WWE's butt in the ratings. And I think in Japan, their show is bigger than WWE. Next is they also remind me of one of my favorite eras under Vince McMahon. They also my number one favorite era. My second favorite era is the ruthless aggression, but my number one favorite era under Vince McMahon Jr. was the New Generation era. I love back in the 90s when Bret Hart and Shawn were top guys. Bret Hart and Shawn were top guys, and that's what New Japan reminds me of. Kenny Omega is Shawn Michaels with the technical style of a Bret Hart, and the same heritage too. He's Canadian. And Okada is like Bret Hart, only with even is like Bret and Owen Hart, only with even more charisma, and even better even better wrestling than Bret Hart was. You got Tanahashi who is like the Buff Bagwell, Shawn Michaels of New Japan. He actually is in wrestling style. In both wrestling style, he's similar to both of those wrestlers. You got Tomoki Honma, who's still currently out with an injury. He's like the Hardcore Holly, Bob Hardcore Holly of New Japan. Tomohiro Ishii is like the super stiff guy, which it also reminds me of ECW. So like I said, New Japan reminds me of the old school. That's why I watch these tune into promotions like New Japan, Impact Wrestling, the Lucha Libre promotions, the British wrestling companies like Destiny Wrestling and NGW, and the American Independent Circuit here, the Ring of Honor and the American Independent Circuit here, because they all remind me of old school professional wrestling. I like wrestling 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000s, 90s, and of course the 2000s. The 2000s was the last time wrestling was good. In my opinion, wrestling in the 2010s is absolutely terrible. Mostly WWE, that is absolutely terrible. But yeah, yeah, that's what I like about New Japan. I can't wait to watch more. I never get sick of watching these awesome matches and fights. I love watching highlights of my favorite fights, just in case I don't feel like watching the extremely long match. And the wrestlers in New Japan, I don't want any of those guys in WWE. That's another reason I'm making a New Japan haters rant. Every time I see an awesome match between two badass New Japan wrestlers, there's always some lame WWE fanboy coming to the channel saying, "Oh, these guys are good. Oh, these guys are good. I can't wait to see one of those guys in WWE. They should really fix this matchup so they can have a better chance of getting into WWE. Talking like WWE is better than this. Hell, I stopped watching WWE. One of the reasons I stopped watching WWE was because of Roman Reigns talking crap about the Young Bucks and dissing Okada. Okada, he got Roman Reigns. This is actually when I stopped defending and caring about Roman Reigns. When I first saw it, he didn't improve. Then he started talking. Then he started talking crap about the Young Bucks. Then he started talking about crap about Okada. You know, three wrestlers who actually did what he can't do, and that's get over with their audiences. That's get over with their audiences. Yeah, New Japan, 2 thumbs, way up, way up. If I had to rate their matches, I would give them more than 6 stars, man, because New Japan is just awesome. All right, well, I'm done for now.